Ayo Ojebode is a professor of applied communication, University of Ibadan. He joins me via Skype from Ibadan to discuss this. Good to have you join us, Professor.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to join you as well.
There have been growing call and demand for these artifacts that were looted to be returned to Africa. Let's get your thought on this and really the impact that the looting of these artifacts has had on Africa, and the impact that the return of this artifact by Germany will also mean for Africa.
Well, thank you very much. You have raised two crucial issues. One is the clamor for the return of the artifacts to Nigeria. That clamor is rising, but we are missing out something very important. It is not everybody who should be concerned about the return of these artifacts that is really concerned about them. As has been said in the intro, these were thousands, over 3,000 works of art, highly sophisticated items that were looted, and looted is the word, in 1897, that is 124 years ago. These items were scattered all over Europe. One museum alone in Berlin has over 500 of these. And in the 1950s, several of them were sold, even some of them were sold back to the Nigerian government. And so there is a lot of clamor, a stab of conscience, and a lot of clamor for their return. But it's important to emphasize that some people who should be interested just don't care very much about these things. A lot of bad things have happened to us as a people, and those who were champions of arts, as creators and as admirers of arts, 300-400 years ago, have been invaded by a sense of Philistinism, something that makes people to value art much less than they should value it. With due respect, the governor of Edo State, Mr. Obaseki, for instance, was quoted as saying that those artifacts are the ambassadors of the Edo kingdom, and that where they are representing the people of Edo, and so they should be left there. Returning them doesn't seem to be very important, according to him. And when they are left there, the Edo people would remain connected to the rest of the world. Now, that is the governor speaking, and that is very important. His voice matters a lot. And if anything happens and this return is not completed, it may be because people who should be interested are not fully interested in it.
Professor Ojebode, as much as I cannot verify that statement coming from the governor, but I want to stay on a very critical point you mentioned, which is the fact that some of these artifacts were returned in 1950s and ended, back in Europe just a little while after. And that's the concern that those who argue against restitution have. They argue that they might be relooted. They argue that they might be resold. They also argue that we do not have the facility to house some of these artifacts.
Yes, so yeah, those are very genuine fears. And I share in that fear, in that concern very seriously. Because it's those who vandalize rail tracks that are found deep in the bush can do anything, can do worse things to work of art that will be found in the city. And so the question of the safety of this work of art is a genuine one, and but that should not delay or cancel the planned return of the work of art. I think that the proposed museum in Edo is likely to have enough security to protect these arts. And those who are afraid that the looted art will be re-looted have genuine fears, and I share in their fears and concerns.
So the British government is the direct colonial masters, if I put that in quote, and they were the ones who actually colonized us here in Nigeria, and they have more of this artifact. Now, recently, sometime in April, they released a statement. I just want to read it to you so you understand the body language from the British government. It says, "We believe the strength of the British Museum collection resides in the breadth and depth, allowing millions of visitors an understanding of the cultures of the world and how they interconnect over time. So it sort of shows you that there is the body language is that, look, they don't think they are going to return it anytime soon. They have also touted lending it back to Nigeria. Returning it, wouldn't that be a step in sort of undoing the injustice of the colonial era?
The very thing that the British government does not believe in. They do not believe in undoing the injustice of the colonial era. Now, we need to remember, and that this is part of the history that we sometimes miss. When you read most of the accounts, we are told that the invasion of that kingdom in 1897 was to avenge the death of the British officers that were killed because they came in the wrong time during the festival, a festival that does not allow foreigners to come in. And so they came in and they were attacked and they were killed. A few of them and several African potters that were with them. And then the British launched an attack on the kingdom and destroyed it. But you see, it was not a humanitarian, or it was not because of that alone. The British had difficulties of trading and penetrating the hinterland for trade because of the power of the Edo kingdom and the power of the king. The king was running a kind of monopoly over access to the hinterland and some items of trade. And so it was first and foremost an economic, an invasion that was motivated by economic motives rather than a need to avenge. The need to avenge was just like a trigger. And so that economic motive has continued to drive the interests of the British Empire and the British people up to this very day. So listen to that quotation. So the reason they are not going to return the arts is not that it is a good thing to do or that it's a right thing to do, but because these arts are there in Britain, millions of people visit them every year. Meaning, these millions bring money, pounds, and they pay. They pay at least £10 to access the museum. And so a lot of money coming in will stop coming in if the British government returns that art. So it's a purely economic thing. And so they are not interested in reconciliation or in righting the wrongs of the past. That is just it, because that will hurt them economically.
All right. And we hope that the Nigerian government and all those concerned will continue to engage these countries as equals. Professor Ayo Jebodi, there's just a lot to talk about here, but thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.